Vincent, Shoga. All right, we got 5 members present. Bill, that's your record.
Thank you, Chair. I think you have as handouts just real quickly a revised interim budget bill. And you can see on section 3, there's a red line or blue line, depending on your copy. The additional sentence regarding the reporting, not quite sure if that's what was requested, but that's what we thought was the most meaningful thing. And we can talk about that. And then finally, what's that? Section 3, yes. And then a detailed breakdown of that $4.5 million, along with that clip prepared and sent out yesterday, along with a narrative and more breakdown. I'll start by reading the CLB into the record. It's a bill for an act entitled Approval of an Interim Budget for the Operation of the Crow Tribal Government and Expenditure of Tribal Revenue for the first quarter of fiscal year 2017. And it reads as follows. Whereas Article 4, Section 3B of the Crow Tribal Constitution and Bylaws requires the executive branch of the Crow Tribal Government to prepare an annual budget for the operation of the tribal government, including separate budgets for the legislative and judicial branches, for approval by the legislative branch and the Secretary of the Interior. And whereas Article 5, Section 2E of the Constitution empowers the legislative branch to grant final approval or disapproval of the annual budget prepared by the executive branch. And whereas the legislature granted final approval of the annual budget for fiscal year 2016, covering the period October 1, 2015 through September 30th, 2016, NCLB number 15-13, December 18th, 2015, in the total amount of $24,285,186. And whereas the executive branch has requested the legislative branch to approve an interim partial year budget for the first quarter of fiscal year 2017, covering the period October 1, 2016 through December 31, 2016, authorizing expenditures to continue at the same rate as in the fiscal 2016 budget, as adjusted for differences in anticipated revenue, which interim budget will be replaced by a full annual budget for FY 2017 to be prepared and approved before December 31st, 2016. Whereas the legislative and executive branches wish to cooperate on the approval of the interim budget for FY 2017 in order to provide a fiscally sound method for the continued operation of the Crow Tribe until a full FY 2017 budget can be prepared and approved. Now therefore be it enacted by the Crow Tribal Legislature. Section 1. Approval of an interim budget for the first quarter of the 2017 fiscal year for the expenditure of Crow Tribal revenue. An interim budget for the first quarter of the 2017 fiscal year for the operation of Crow Tribal government and the expenditure of tribal revenues during the period October 1, 2016 through December 31, 2016, for the same purposes as provided in CLB number 15-13 is hereby approved by the Crow Tribal Legislature as follows. A, Judicial Branch, $162,733. B, Legislative Branch, $356,250. And C, Executive Branch, $4,034,490. Total excluding per capita, $4,553,472. Section 2, replacement with annual FY 2017 budget. No later than December 15th, 2016, the Executive Branch shall prepare and submit a full annual budget for the 2017 fiscal year for approval by the legislature in a special session prior to December 31st, 2016. Section 3, Tribal Mineral Royalties Special Per Capita Account. All mineral royalties paid to the credit of the Crow Tribe shall be directly deposited by the Office of Special Trustee in a special tribal revenue account separate and apart from the Crow Tribal General Fund and shall only be available for expenditure for the purpose of per capita distribution to the enrolled tribal membership. Any additional mineral royalties received shall also be directly deposited into the special revenue account described herein and shall be distributed via per capita payments to the enrolled tribal membership. In addition to the reports on receipts of royalties currently being provided to the legislature by the Office of the Special Trustee, OST, the Executive Branch shall forward to the legislature copies of all per capita account drawdown requests on Form 1034, Form SF 1034, as signed by the Chairman at the same time as they are provided to BIA and OST. If you'd like a brief explanation, I can't remember what we did yesterday.
Yeah, Sean, you want to apply motion on the analyzers?
Bryce, thank you, Bryce. Again, in as well as a security fund, whereas in New York, we got here's what the budget in Mukak, main airport. It's what how you know, it's stuff is. So we got, was it chilly?
I think that's in the narrative, huh? Narrative? Yeah, for, that's what?
Yeah, this is just a continuing resolution for October through December, so Crow Fair Board wouldn't be in this budget because it's not in those months, it doesn't occur. So we would address that when we do the full year budget for December 15th.
Again, just to get us some to December.
Okay, which set one up in the budget? Which set there was one budget that was in the documentation budget that was submitted to us from the finance department that was limited to Crow Fair budget and made, but as expressed before the end of December 31st, that they're going to talk about the budgets. So within my position here and the rest of the legislature that I can communicate the effort to that your budget will not be eliminated and that Crow Fair is a part of our culture, it's part of our livelihood, and that if there's any attempt by the executive branch to eliminate your budgets, I will personally put a restraining order. I will personally move forward in stopping them from eliminating your budget. So based on that, I give my 100% support to the Crow Fair Board. So, Kojiwa, I would accept. And based on that, एक motion then एक pre dalgasha bole koshna and bole amsalage on dan in here and hagi extension revenue 50,000 good bridge and with him nashika you know when
yeah, no, just to get through the elections, waiting up by, because previously, new administration, they come in, well, Atche, Holly, and in order to stop that, when, attending resolution I did before, last year, we got, month by month, hey, instead of creating a budget like this, we continue operations month by month. I mean, I give quarterly utilization towards, you know, for us, for judicial, for executive, we all could utilize, you know, this direction we're taking. But my question is, why are we using last year's budget? Is this year's finance is going to be the same as last year? It's going to be lower?
It'll be lower. The 24,205, that's just used as a starting point because we're looking at a 25% reduction. So these 3 months, they're all reduced by 25%. So that 4,553,472 for the budget, that's 25% less than last year's.
So did you guys get the actuals yet or not? Not yet. I know it's, you know, it's coming, but the contract wasn't signed. And
Well, Westmoreland still needs session to approve how that breakdown is going to be. And the BIA also needs that as well. And then they'll approve it. And then once they approve it, we should be able to get the actuals sometime probably late October. I believe I haven't heard from Westmoreland recently, Bill might have, but I believe they have contracts waiting. They're just waiting for that to get approved by BIA.
I've had a call actually scheduled with Jana Waters at the regional office all week long. We haven't quite connected yet. She's got some further questions, but they are aware of the draft JAR that doesn't affect the capital payments, so they know that that's undoubtedly the way it's going to turn out.
yeah, and then
I just wanted to clarify that this is an amendment to the CLB that was presented in July. So I think we're going to get a red line on the title explaining that this is not new legislation, this is just amending the July CLB. Just making that clear because they're going to introduce the new CLB by December 15th for the whole budget.
And the other thing was, you know, we got this 4.5 million for the 3 months. You know, if the actuals come in and it's much lower, are we still gonna cover? Are we gonna, you know, start kind of tripping until the end of the year again? You know, that's one of the questions I had was, you know, we take a huge chunk out of it now, and then from December 15th until October 1st of 2017, you know, if the numbers are much lower than they are, you know, we're, you know, I mean, I'm just kind of looking, I'm kind of forecasting fiscal year 17.
Based off my numbers, we should be, this is fairly conservative, so we should be fine revenue-wise to cover this amount. And then if hopefully there's a bunch of additional revenues, and then that will get included when we do the full year budget.
And my next question was towards the cutting the percentages off from each branches. You know, we talked about it before, that, you know, we shouldn't be a straight across the board where legislature, judicial takes the bigger hit because, you know, it's much smaller, the budget. So we give them a cut, and it's kind of dramatic, you know.
But the thing with judicial is that they have another match with their program, so they can totally run almost off their entire 638, their federal funding. They receive like $450,000 on top of whatever would be passed through the legislature. So that's what he said, the numbers were fairly conservative because judicial would be all right because they run off of 638. So that's their federal dollars. Just what you're seeing here is on top of their federal. And they do have things like carryover and whatnot with their federal dollars too. That's another thing that kind of gets skewed in all of it.
Good, Sean.
One of the things that we need to take a look at, it expresses that December 31st will be, I guess, approval by the legislature on the new fiscal year budget. I'd like to change that to November 30th. Reason being, there's going to be inauguration coming up in December and everything like that, and there might be a change of, you know, might be a change within candidacy and everything like that. You might be at the executive branch that writes that. So I'd just like to express that. I think that it might be within, as I'm saying, that Dr. in Then on section 3, one of the last meetings that we had was that OST will forward to the legislature drawdowns on the per capita account on royalties. That language there expresses that executive branch will forward to legislatures copies. So that doesn't provide the distinction of separation of powers. And I think that in order to be more accountable, to see the precise information that's coming directly from OST, I think that's the direction that we need to head. Because when we, the co-tribal government, first moved on separation of powers and established this new constitution, and I was one of the individuals who moved forward with this new constitution, I think that this type of information needs to be directly provided to the legislature.
Yeah, we talked about that last Thursday, you know, and you know, when the numbers come out from Westmoreland, that the motion Sean wanted to make, you know, we weren't talking about the budget yet, but now today we are, and you know, he's bringing out the question again that Westmoreland to give us a copy, you know, like at the same time, you know, just into the finance committee, to where the committee will know, you know, the numbers that are coming in. And I think that was the motion he wanted to put, and Bill and Don, they're looking at section 3 to add that language in there. Is that doable?
Well, the only thing, just to make things clear, like per cap isn't just Westmoreland coal royalties. It has land lease revenue in there, as well as some oil and gas money that comes through per cap. So I think if you're going to go to get the actuals, I think you're going to have to request it from BIA or OST provide this branch something for how much is actually in that account, instead of the individual companies.
Yeah, I mean, we understand that, and we will pursue that, but then on the Westmoreland side, just Westmoreland side, what's coming in, you know, the severance tax, those proceeds and royalties, it only comes in one package, doesn't it? It's three separate.
Different times of the years.
Okay, yeah, so see, if it comes in, we see that, and then BI will request that from them. There's different per capita payments. You know, we can, I mean, it's a start. We're just trying to be transparent, you know, accountability, you know, and that's it. And it seems like we don't even know anything until the day, and the committee's pretty fed up that we should actually be right there, you know, looking at the numbers, but yet we don't see the numbers, and now you're saying October, late October, so to know the actuals, and that's kind of because of the new contract and the new agreement that's going to be in place. It's a 3-year, right? 3-year contract? Is that what it is?
That's what I was told. I hope so.
Well, what's more than sales?
You know, 3 years is probably all right, but you don't want it to be like a 10-year contract just because if coal rebounds, you're locked in at a low price. So 2 or 3 years is, I think, what they're shooting for right now.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, guests, members of the body. Last week we requested the drawdowns. So are we going to get those today, or that's my question? We requested that, we wanted to see that information we were just talking about.
Like 1034 for per cap or the OST stuff?
I believe there was a motion made last week, but we wanted to see the drawdowns. If there's a BIA, maybe the person that set up the drawdown over there, maybe could come and just put a projector up and just show us. Make it that simple, quick.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's what we requested though was that last week?
Yep.
That was a request by the committee.
Thank you, Chair. Body, some guests, executive. First of all, I'd like to say I feel we're sitting on the wrong side of it. I guess that would be OST and the BIA that you carry HUD, is that? So, we can make a motion to bring her in, kind of like show us how the drawdowns go.
Yeah, I requested that about 3 months ago. I think the main one from OST that, yeah, and he was supposed to come in and give us a breakdown of how drawdowns occur, and we couldn't schedule them, but if, you know, Carrie's comfortable, you know, I'll ask her, have her come in, maybe on Wednesday. What do we got? So, you know, I got a funeral vision. We want to read this into record and at least have it ready in committee at Wednesday. I think then we can, you know, most probably have more time to watch this later. Until Wednesday. So I get you can read this the law couldn't solve it wings. Walmart the Leo couldn't charge you. So yeah, and Bush, okay, motion next. Is that doable then? To have Westmoreland send us a copy as they send it to OST BIA before the, you know, I know the 1034 is there on the tribal side requesting the drawdown, but you know, just for Westmoreland to give us a copy of what's coming in. You know, it's just for informational, you know, for the committee that we were on board. Go ahead, Sean.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say, Milwaukee, as we're progressing forward and we're moving with separation of powers and the branches and everything like that, times are changing. And with these times that are changing, there's more individuals that are, understand the language, who can read the information. And with these times that are changing, there'll be true separation of powers. And with this, I think that one of the communication definitions that was expressed by Clinton Snowden, that there's additional royalties out there. And I think that's a good idea, where the additional amount of royalties that are out there for per capita distribution, I think that we need to add to Section 3 that the total amount of royalties that are out there be communicated to the Crow legislative branch. And I believe that we need to move forward on a motion like that. With that, we have a second.
I was just hoping to address Bryce's initial comments, because I'm getting confused, but I think we could, I guess people plan to ask Westmoreland to go ahead. I mean, right now they just send those things to OST or BIA. But recognize, though, you're not going to see it all in one lump. It won't be. This is for the next per capita, and there'll be 4 different monthly payments, or 5, depending on the time frame, and there'll be trickling in over that whole period.
Yeah, not just the per capita, but, the 3, the severance and the gross.
Yeah, we can,
also.
and those are done quarterly, so
Yeah.
they're supposed to do a return just like they do with the state.
Yeah.
So we can have them send it both to Clint's office and to
The
person
finance.
that come here
The finance committee, prior to Dawn,
via email.
or Rachel, yeah, our finance officer.
Okay, I'll get that email address.
Yeah. And then Sean's motion. Motion there, Sean, requested, July.
Yeah. As a motion to provide from the Government Affairs OST and all other federal agencies, the total amount of royalty that is being provided to the Crow tribal government will be directly mailed to the Crow legislature. Lage, Amy, Bishusha, Hulu, Basti, Lage, Bill, South, Gregor, a green Masti, Hulu, Budget. They want his Mayor Bugger. Lage, they want his, I will name South, used to go used to Chipscale, get with you. And when I get now South, Woga, Woga, Lage, Valley. Saavista, Eutul, I'm Louis Duff, Bonjour, Eutul, Bonjour. The chest of a gowl, and close you all happy right now.
Request from the, regards to reporting from OST. There is a blue line in the packet that mentions, in addition to the reports on receipts of royalties currently being provided to the legislature by the Office of the Special Trustee, the executive branch shall forward to the legislature copies of all per capita account drawdown requests on Form SF 1034 as signed by the chairman. At the same times, they are provided to BIA and OST. So that amendment was provided in here, and I think that may cover it, and based on the request you made last week. If we do a request directly from OST, that would be a separate matter from this bill, but we can do it. So my question is that language sufficient at this time?
That language that you just expressed, is that written within the contract with the funding agent, whoever it may be, or whoever is providing OSD, is providing information on the royalty? Or does that go to federal regulations?
I think it'd be good to have BIA and OSD come in and be able to answer all of your questions. Because really, with per cap, really the only thing the tribe handles is processing the checks. BIA handles basically everything, and OSD handles just the distribution of how much the royalties are in there. Otherwise, all we really do is mail out the checks, and then the funds hit the tribe's account, and the checks get cashed. And then Jay has to handle, well, he used to have to handle the whole 4 holes, but with this language that Don just read, I think we went through this last time we were over here, but the reports that OSD does send over to the legislature, the per cap account is included on there, so you can see the lease payments, or you can see the Westmoreland royalty payments, or the oil and gas payments in those reports. And I know Carrie would be happy, I'm sure, to go through each of those accounts and show you guys what every OSD account is. I think there's about 25 of them.
Sure. Go ahead. Lagi legislature dashuraduk maybe ilahaduk lagi na royalty sagaje lagi na OSD gire Bureau of Indian Affairs gire bawanaje dispatch daya legislature kusuku koi wala lagi lagi anida je na bawanaje coaching executive staff oh yeah. Isu cewek hiji, tapi gue mau aja, gue dah gue tahu, gue mau kau apa percaya dengan cewek, gue mau aja hukum, gue kecil ada hispa. Itu lagi direct bulu, kau nasib ya dulu short please, yuk tak aja, macam mana buat. Just expressing to the Crow legislature based on your authority within this branch and sovereignty. Again, many times within the OST and other funding agents, federal entities who provide royalty payments to the Crow tribal government, many times the information, the financial information is provided to the executive. And then the executive, at some point in time, it might even be the day of per capita, and the information is provided here, as stated by the Senator Vice Chairman there. And we don't have enough time to take a look at the information. So what we're expressing is, would you feel, I guess we need to provide an opinion on your position on receiving this information on royalty direct to the legislature, the same information that would be provided directly to the executive. All it would be a copy forwarded to the legislature. And what we're expressing is that we're trying to move forward in terms of separation of powers and branches. And it's just an idea, it's just a thought. It's just a thought of good governance and accountability. But we don't need to move in that direction. It's just an idea, it's a thought. And, maybe if individuals want to communicate their opinion, you will have to. Frank.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with what Sean said as far as getting the information direct from the OSD and all them. It's one thing to hear it from 2 people away, but directly from them is something else. I wanted to back up on the question that I had about, you were talking about being locked in on a lower rate. I thought we had it in the contract to where if the coal rate goes above a certain point, then this reduction is void.
Yeah, it is in there. I should clarify that. Even if they did do a 3-year contract per se, the tribe's reduction only lasts through 2018, so they still, regardless of whatever contract they sign with Sherco, that $1.50 will come back to the tribe anyways on those tons, because we're not on that reduction. I mean, they may come back back to the tribe and want the tribe to take another reduction, but we got me denied at that point. Because this reduction is only for 17 and 18 now, and the last quarter of 16, so.
But if the price goes up, instead it takes a jump, then the reduction within those years is null and void, right?
It's not null and void, they give back a percentage of it off of each. So if it goes over 1525, say if it goes to 1575, the price of coal, the tribe would get a quarter back and they would get a quarter. Okay, until it went up. And if somehow if the Indian coal production tax credit could get passed through Congress again for an extended period of time where they could actually monetize that credit, that would all get applied back against this reduction too. Which that, if that happened, that would probably take out this whole reduction.
Thank you.
Paul?
Thank you, Jerry. Like, as you guess, looking into the separate tax payments, I see that you guys have a drawdown in August. And so it said on there like second quarter payment. And so how are these payments made? You guys follow like a regular fiscal year from October to, is it coming where?
Yeah, the way it works is when we submit the budget for the year, we'll submit a drawdown request for each of the years based off of what we're projecting. So that when you're looking at August, if it's this year, it's like 900,000. OST will look at that budget and make sure that that was budgeted in there, and then they'll make me revise the drawdown schedule if it was less than what we budgeted for. And then they send that to the tribe for operations. That's what we approve every year in this tribal budget.
So when's your second quarter? Is when you draw down, when's your second quarter?
So when that August one hits, we'll draw that probably within 2 or 3 days of that actually hitting that OST. That's the tribe.
I'm asking for your quarters.
But that's
When's the second quarter?
payment.
Probably. Yeah, their quarters they run off a calendar year, and we run off a fiscal year. So like our first quarter is their fourth quarter for our fiscal year. So our 10/1 to December is their fourth quarter because they're on a calendar year. So I'd have to look at the statements and make sure that that's how it's reading. So their fourth quarter would be our first quarter. So their first quarter would be our second quarter. And on those OST statements, you can see when they sent the drawdown to the tribe. It'll show it as a negative on the statement.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments concerning this interim budget from the committee? Great.
So my thing was that last thing, repeat that. My thing, yeah,
Yeah.
Lagi OST royalty, sila dyan information direct to legislature. Dila same information direct to executive. Ang copy in virus that way. Now royalty, that's on it. Look at Shishia, whether it's timber sales, natural gas, whether royalty comes in, virus that way. Now royalty, that's on it. Kaya tak too much. Tapos na executive step, look information alus going there the per capita distribution going and if directed to as up to true separation of powers that meant but some electoral money and so you went to receive the information direct from OST and be cook.
Yeah, I gave Kerry Hooks who would do explain that it chill Israel. Logic scared for who is check OST has on. Yeah, I got Wednesday who check committee EHT gas all check.
I think what the request is that we receive the information the same time executive receives it, right, from OST. So we're receiving the information on an equal basis when it's available from OST. So we're looking at changing that language a little bit so that legislature can receive that information as soon as it's available. But I was going to suggest that when Carrie can get in, we can ask her how that can be best accomplished. That after we learn how the drawdowns happen and how the information becomes available. So we can still work on that piece of language, I guess.
Yeah, I would concur with that information, bring in Carrie Huggs, and then she can explain to us on the process. And maybe she can also, we'll send some information to her, what other governments that have similar constitution, separation of powers, how do they go about receiving financial information. I think that would be some good research on their behalf, or maybe even on our behalf. In addition to that, I think so moving forward from there, on section 2, I'd like to put it to November 30th. Because reason being, my position is that the Pro Fair Board is waiting on the decision on their funding, and we can't let them, we can't drag it out. They need to know that their funding is secure, because they might want to mix and match grants and things like that, and express that, hey, we've got 50,000, we need to go after this foundation monies, or things like that. And so I'd like to make a motion right now to send it to November.
Again, your motion, Ella, before you get a second, December 10th, inauguration vote. That's when, the 5th?
30 days from the election.
So December 5th is the inauguration. And then at least give them ample time for the, you know, if it's going to be the same administration or if it's going to change, at least give them that time to create a budget for the remainder of the year and go 30th Bahari. But then, you know, if you want to cut it close, what's the closest we can cut it with a new budget plan?
That's get passed on December.
So I make December 15th, though, we, you know, that's when we start talking about the budget, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, let's say, for example, you win your position. No, December 15th, like not change the budget for that. They go to Shawahas, like November 30th. And he's going you all up, secure the ball.
For a new budget,
Yeah, for a new budget. Because even Dookie might be the vice chairman, or I might be the vice chairman, or we might. Both of us might even say,
the last show real committee, November 30th, budget could have for the remainder of the year. That's a good, go ahead, Clint.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, if you do it November 30th and there is a change on any of the spots in the administration, you're going to be stuck with this administration budget that they proposed on November 30th. Moving forward, unless they came over here and made budget amendments, I guess we could do it that way. But like if you take over December 10th and they have a November 30th budget, you're stuck with that budget for.
I'm gonna, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Duke. Because the election's on November 5th is the general.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Go ahead, Duke.
You know, regardless if the administration stays the same or if it changes, you're gonna have to re-educate the new ones. But I think, because I get what's it took me a long time to really kind of understand. I'm not saying I know all of it, but I kind of understand the process of it. it takes a while to understand how for example, I know Senator Rilbert, Sean, talked about the commissioners of the racing. He wanted more money in there. I'm just using this as an example. But you have a separate law that addresses that, where we establish that the 50,000 goes to general manager, powwow. Then the other one, racing, 50,000. And then also the other one was the rodeo manager. And then that's when we established the parade for 35,000. So you can't go to the budget and try to amend that and make those increases. You got to go to that separate where you got to make those changes. See, so you got to go, because we created law to establish those 50,000. At that time, the thinking in here, okay, we want to make sure that money is secured for those purposes. So I forget which number that is, but and then also that in there that we don't charge Indians and Crows to come into the Crow Fair, unless like right now they charge the other tribal members if they don't have their tribal IDs. They're charging them. This past Crow Fair, I've heard about that. So awusaw that we are going to charge only the basashi that yo and if that law is in there, and that's what they follow. So you as a bot, you got to have that law. And so we usually hand that out to all the new and give the Ninoch to go get it. So you got to change that law in order to increase racing commissioner, Indian relay, the Badu Pera, you got to go to that and amend that. And you got to get go. You want to fight Bahas. You can illustrate this way because what you want. Oh.
Go ahead, Sean. Thank you, Chairman. I guess there was a budget sent from the Crow Tribal Finance and eliminated the Crow Fair budget.
One of them.
Yes, one of them. And based on that information, yes, there is a resolution there securing that funding, but eliminating that Crow Fair budget. My position is that even with this quarterly information, I believe that we should reaffirm it. Or maybe even another option could be we could discuss it. Another option is that we can bring in another resolution to increase all the budgets within the Crow Fair Board, because I know that 50,000 doesn't go too far. Which doesn't go too far on the powwow. I think rodeo doesn't go too far on 50,000, and they create good horse racing. And I think that with inflation and everything, and the cost of goods and services and everything, it's expensive. So I think in order to put on a world-class event that we'd like to host as a Crow Nation, we need to expand that. So within that, there's been times within the Crow legislature that budgets have been increased. And it's been documented that Destiny White Clay's budget has been increased, and it already set precedents within the Crow legislature. So based on the information that Senator Duty Gozad has expressed, that there are options available to increase a budget. But then observation, the Crow Fair Board, behind the side, make a big fully support the Crow Fair Board. And I will always fully support the Crow Fair Board, and I've always been part of the Crow culture, whether it be dancing, rodeo, parade, horse racing, and Indian relay. So based on that, It's my position that we maintain our cultural identity and this festival that we have for the Crow people. Thank you very much, Bryce.
Great.
Okay, chicos, na. Co-reduction that, we guys outside, but big. Now price reduction, that's to get more tonnage. Tonnage while off here, now. Reduction is, we guys outside, my guys, we. Colegio, to, for my mother, 15 years, not a reduction now, we get a reduction, I think you might get more buyers for that coal. Nah, we guys just said, my guys, we got this, cuts that up. Tonnage back here, coal guys, we.
Yeah.
Frank?
I had a question for legals and all that. It's already a law in place securing the budget for the Crow Fair, so that's a minimum, that's a set rate. So by reducing that, wouldn't that be breaking the law? So that's something we can't do, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, all right, you done.
That's what I was talking about on that Crow Fair.
Okay, just to answer that with the correct language, this one here is an addendum, and it was passed in 2006, and I just want to read the exact language. Further, upon passage of this addendum, the elected Crow Fair managers will sign contracts that will make them accountable and personally liable for funds appropriated by the Crow tribe in the amount of $50,000 each to rodeo, races, and powwow. Further, that a parade director will be established as a fourth manager, and the tribe will appropriate $35,000 for the parades. And further, the titles for these elected positions will be as follows: rodeo manager, racing commissioner, powwow manager, and parade director. All revenue generated for the Crow Fair, such as gate fees, camp entrance fees, to exclude all Native Americans, concession fees or other fees, will be collected, accounted for, and managed by persons appointed by the Crow Fair Director and the Executive Special Events Board. The elected managers will provide reports of how tribal appropriations and revenues were expended. Each year, each manager will stay within the $50,000 appropriation. But if there's an unmet need, they may request from the Executive Crow Fair Director and the Executive Special Events Board revenue generated funds from concessions, gates, etc. to meet shortfalls for their respective events. So that's the language that we're supposed to be operating under now. No. That's your fixed rate, and that's what the budget's based on. So, if, in answering Senator Whiteclay's question, if that was to be changed, we would have to change that language.
Now tell them what a CLB is, Mr. Chair.
The original CLB that was issued for this legislation is number 0227. CLB is law that is passed by the legislature pursuant to its enumerated power.
And signed by the chairman.
Right. This addendum is actually brought forth as a JAR 0603, but that's also by agreement of the branches and is also signed by both branches. However, we recognize both as the establishing legal language for the budget. So in order to change it in the budget, we need to change that law first.
With a JAR.
Frank?
Yeah, so seeing it how it's a law, then we can't break it. We're supposed to uphold the law, so, I think that one has to be out of there, so that, you know, we're not breaking the laws that we put forth.
Well, if you look at it, most of it's not being followed. By the process that's outlined in that law, it's just not being followed, so.
By who? Followed by the executive or followed by here?
Who's ever running Pro Fair? So for example, if you're not supposed to charge Native Americans at the gate pursuant to this law, then why were they being charged? Where's the reporting that was supposed to come from this? Additionally, you know, that was the whole basis of the discussion for this budget, was that it has to be run like a business, which I thought that Senator Muehlberg was going for, because we need to have revenue generated for this program, and it has to be accountable, and it has to become self-sufficient at some point. So we were talking about some type of business model that probably would serve that function a little bit better. So there's a whole lot of discussion behind that, but I guess for purposes of this bill that we're looking at today, the final answer is, in order to change that original legislation establishing the duties and budget and powers of the different offices under Pro Fair would have to be changed initially. So they can't just be changed unilaterally with this budget.
With a motion or
Right.
second in here, so that's not germane at all.
Right.
Yeah, like not following the procedures that's on their side, that doesn't pertain to us, that's.
I'm not saying that.
The reporting,
I'm talking about the procedures that is in here right now.
Yeah,
We're trying
the
to do this.
procedures
I understand
here.
what you're saying.
but with Don's comment, that we're not following it, it's not, the legislature not following it, it's
I agree.
the other side, so we only can govern what goes on within ourselves, and we have boundaries, so just keep them with our boundaries, and let them govern themselves, we govern ourselves, so as far as keeping that minimum there is something we need to do and protect. But as far as staying germane on the subject of the budget, is that we still have to follow all the rules that we had forth from the start of this to the back, all the CLBs, unless we do amendments to them on separate subjects.
All right, oh, Frank. Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I just got a few, I guess, discussions over trying to change the bill to November 30th. I think that'll be, a little bit difficult. Just go with what's in there because, we did this before in the past, 4 years ago. They went to October or December 31st. I mean, seems like every time this kind of election comes around and that candidate's running from the legislature, and it kind of gets a little bit touchy, feel like that's, something that conflict of interest, I guess, but some people call it that. But I think we should just go with what's in there, December 31st, because if we move it to November 30th, it's going to just make everything difficult, like what these guys are saying. And then, do we read this bill in the record yet? Okay. All right, that's all I'm going to comment on that, actually. That's all I had, thanks.
All right, Don.
I just want to qualify that statement I made earlier. This bill that we are passing today, though, it could reduce it because it's also law. But I don't think that's appropriate because if we're doing a 25% cut across the board, that means everybody in violation of all the laws we passed up until this day. That's what I don't think is appropriate about that. Now, talking about, and I'm going to keep bringing this up because it needs to be addressed, and this is why we're always in this problem. is the fiscal manager